Hello friends, and welcome back to the shop. Today is Saturday the 15th of October. It's actually late afternoon right now as I'm making this video, and had a very nice Saturday so far. So I'm back from vacation, arrived back on Wednesday evening, and have slowly integrated back into to the working life and those sorts of things. But we had a great time. I'll tell you more about the trip in a few minutes. But I just wanted to start off by saying thank you all for watching, and I want to thank all the subscribers, especially all the new subscribers that I've picked up over the past couple of weeks. I don't know what happened, but for some reason while I was away on vacation, I got, it was close to 40 new subscribers. So it's kind of telling that when I don't make videos, people subscribe to me, so maybe I should should think about that deeply and try to understand why the less you see of me, the more you seem to like me. But anyway, I'm really appreciative of all you guys that are subscribing and that are watching. It's just nice to know that there's interest in the things that I'm doing. So yeah, vacation was very nice. I put up a couple of videos from that. I've got one more that I might post that I made on the road. Didn't really have time to do a lot of content while I was out in California. Appreciate the comments on the videos that I did post. It was great to be able to share some of what I was seeing there with you all. It was a fantastic trip. I mean, I think I've expressed to you previously that I like Pennsylvania. I'm a native here, and it's where I'm comfortable. And I've never been a real big fan of the West Coast. It's beautiful, the weather's nice, it's just not home. My wife loved it. She would probably move there tomorrow if we could. But to me, I'm happy to be home. But boy, did we see some beautiful sights. And we started off in San Francisco. Spent a day touring wine country, Napa and Sonoma, and then down into like the Santa Barbara area. And went on several tasting type things. You know, you start off in the morning, they load you on a bus and they take you from winery to winery, and at each winery you sample 4 to 6 different wines, and by the end of the day you're pretty happy. They also offer to sell you the wine along the way, so by the end of the day you also have accumulated many bottles of wine. I'm not a wine connoisseur by any stretch. I enjoy it. Always have enjoyed it, but I'm not the kind of guy that can, you know, taste it and tell you what year it's from, or, you know, that I detect a hint of elderberry or anything like that. I just like what I like and drink it. And my wife does too. We tend to be very polarized in our opinions. I like the deeper reds with lots of tannins, whereas she's more of a lighter white wine fan. So, you know, everywhere we went, if I was going to buy a red, she had to buy a white. Anyway, we wound up bringing home quite a bit of wine and shipping some of it, and but it was all part of the fun, and now I get to drink it. We also we drove, after that part of the trip, we drove down Route 1, which is right along the coast. It's the coastal highway, and boy, that's just, it's a nerve-wracking ride in some points, because it's this winding mountain road that's really, you know, clinging to the side of a mountain with a sheer drop, and then the ocean. But it was stunningly beautiful, and so at the times when I wasn't fearing for my life, I was really enjoying it. My wife was driving. She gets car sick if she's not the driver, so I was the passenger for most of the trip, and she said that being the driver, it really wasn't that bad of a ride, but being a passenger and just seeing all that stuff slide by, it was pretty frightening, to be honest. But we had a really good time there, and then ultimately we got down to Palm Springs for the 3-day concert. And you know, I'm not, as I told you before, I'm not really a fan of rock music. I was looking forward to Bob Dylan, and Bob Dylan was probably the most disappointing performance out of all of them. He just was not at all interactive. You know, the lights came up, he was sitting at a piano, he started playing, did maybe 8 or 10 song set, lights went down for a few seconds, came back up, nobody had moved. He did a 1-song encore, lights went down, and that was it. There was no hello, how you doing, nothing, just. And some of the music that he chose to play was a little odd. You know, I guess I'm a fan of Bob Dylan. I've seen him a couple of times, and I know his music, and I recognized all of the songs, but they weren't the songs that if you were to sit down and say these are songs Bob Dylan would play live, they weren't those songs. They were a bit unusual. And most of the people that we talked to at the concert were kind of disappointed in that performance. Of course, a few days later, he gets the Nobel Prize for Literature, so I don't know if that says more about Bob Dylan or more about the Nobel Prize, but we won't get into that. The other performances were actually all very good, very entertaining. You know, it's not my style of music, but I could enjoy the entertainment value, and my wife was just having a blast, so being able to see her enjoy it was well worth the trip. So we saw, let's see, Rolling Stones. Neil Young put on a fantastic show. I really enjoyed that, and wasn't expecting to, but really enjoyed his show. The Who were, you know, the Who are who they are, and that show was really fantastic. Paul McCartney, I'm not a fan. My wife isn't really a fan. We stayed for about half of his set and then left to beat the rush out. And then the last concert was Roger Waters, which was one I was sort of looking forward to. I mean, I'm a bit of a Pink Floyd fan from my high school days, although I don't listen to it much now. And I knew some of his solo stuff when I was in college. And unfortunately, you know, his act was really sort of a Pink Floyd tribute band. He didn't do any of his solo work. And about halfway through, he got remarkably political. And, I mean, to the point where it was uncomfortable. And I don't care which side of the political line you're on, I think you would have been uncomfortable by the things he was doing, the things he was saying. And we, along with close to half the audience, got up and left because we just didn't want to put up with it. You know, it wasn't what we had paid for. And it's a shame because it kind of put a sort of set a bad tone over the whole concert. But you know, we still have plenty of great memories from it, and you know, certainly I'm not going to let that one thing spoil the experience for me. So yeah, then we you know, went up to San Diego for a bit, saw the San Diego Zoo, got on a plane on Wednesday morning, got home Wednesday night, and dealt with the jet lag on Thursday, and you know, back in the swing of things now. So it went remarkably fast, but it was definitely a very worthwhile trip, and my wife really enjoyed it, so I'm just happy that I was able to do that for her, and that we were able to get that time away. And you know, I've told you before that when I go on vacation or when I have days off, it's very difficult for me to put work to the side, but honestly, I don't think I thought about work the whole time that I was there, which was a nice break. So I enjoyed it. So today I'm smoking, this is my Briar Spirit Janus pipe that I quite like, and I am smoking Haunted Bookshop, which is my tobacco of focus for October. I don't know if I'm going to do an impressions of Haunted Bookshop or not. I've got a lot that I want to cram in this month, and the month's already half over, but we'll see. I think Haunted Bookshop is one of those tobaccos that's well known enough that you could live without my impressions of it, but I like it. It's good stuff. I'll just leave it at that. So I've got a couple other things I wanted to share with you. One is sort of what's upcoming on the channel. So I have a project that I'm starting, and you'll see the first video in that series this Wednesday. It is a pipe refurbishment for a friend, and I won't say much more except that I don't think it's going to be a very long series. I'm thinking 2, maybe 3 videos at the most for this one, because there's not a lot of work that needs to be done. And like I said, you can look forward to that on Wednesday. And after that, I'm thinking about making some changes for a couple of reasons. One is, you know, I've done quite a few refurbishment videos, and I've shown you, I mean, I can keep showing you the same thing over and over, but I'd really rather wait until there's something that's a really unique challenge or a unique pipe, rather than just keep making, you know, this is how I stay in the pipe type videos. So I'm not thinking I'm going to do a lot more of the sort of straight up refurbishments. And there's a lot of other things that I think I'd like to get into, some other sorts of projects, So I'm still going to be doing shop videos of some sort or the other, but the actual content of those shop videos may change a bit. I've also been thinking about a series on just sort of things I've learned about pipe smoking over the years. I don't quite know what to call it yet, but things that for most of you is probably not going to be that informative or all that interesting, but there are people that might benefit from a short discussion about different ways of packing a pipe, or the process of tamping, or things like that. Things that many of us just take for granted, but a new pipe smoker may not really think about it the same way that those of us that have been doing this for many years think about it. So I thought that would be an interesting twist to add to the channel. So anyway, let me know your thoughts on that, if there's anything else you think you'd like to see, and I'll see what I can do about new content in the coming months. So the other thing I wanted to share with you is that I was struck with a significant fit of pipe acquisition disorder. And it's funny, because these things seem to go in phases. I'll usually buy, since I restore pipes and since I buy estate pipes mostly, usually I'll only buy 1 or 2 new pipes a year. But occasionally a year will come where I'll just go on a spree and buy more than that. And I was thinking, one of the reasons I was thinking about this sort of pipe smoking lessons video that I was talking about is I was thinking about how long it took me to really start to build a collection. I probably had, for the first 20 or so years of being a pipe smoker, I probably had 6 pipes. I don't think I went much above that for about 20 years. And then, in the later 10 years or so, I've been adding to that collection quite a bit. But, I sometimes see people buying, 3 or 4 pipes a week, and I'm thinking, gee, that's, are you really having the time to figure out what shape you like, to figure out what style you like? Is there a carver that appeals to you more than another, or a factory that appeals to you more than another? Just spending the time to really break in the pipe, it's curious to me. It just seems to be a very different approach than the one that I grew up with. But at the same time, I sometimes go on buying sprees as well, and I have 3 new pipes that I wanted to show you. The first one is one that I had actually ordered before I left on this trip, and received before I left on the trip, but I didn't really have a chance to show it before then. And this is a pipe by Brian Dorne. And Brian Dorne is also known on YouTube as Beans316. And if you haven't seen Brian's channel, it's well worth a look. He does some nice stuff. And I'll put a link for each of these, well, at least 2 of these, down in the description for you to follow up on. And Brian made this really beautiful, I guess this is a poker, but I really love this pipe. Just the colors on it, the red stem, this black and silver band, it just really, I think, goes so well with the red of the stem and the black of the body of this pipe, and it's got a nice natural finish on the top. So just a gorgeous pipe, a very nice deep bowl. I guess it's a stacked poker, but I can get my whole finger in there, and I can get a good portion of my thumb. Actually, I can get I don't want to get it stuck, but so it's a nice big bold pipe, and I'm really looking forward to giving this one its first smoke. So Brian does really nice work. If you haven't seen his work, please go ahead and check out his channel and see some of the stuff he's done. So that was one that I had ordered, and the other 2 were ones that I picked up while I was out on vacation in California. So I told you I was going to try to find some shops out there. The only one that I actually got to was Kramer's in Los Angeles, and Kramer's is a fantastic pipe shop. If any of you live in that area, you really have to go and see it. And I spent a long time talking to the woman that runs it. Her name is Marcia. Learning a little bit about the history of it. I had done mail order from them before, And I'm going to make a video on Kramer's sometime soon. Took a lot of pictures, and I'll work those into the video. Really fantastic shop. But I bought 2 pipes while I was there. I'm going to put this one down because I'm not smoking it, talking too much. I bought 2 pipes there, and the first one, I've got to admit, I'm still not really sure why I bought this pipe. So there's a shape that's very popular and has been very popular for some time now that I have never liked, and I've just never been interested at all in obtaining one of these pipes. But while I was there, there was one in the case, and I picked it up, and I just decided, well, I'm going to add this pipe to my collection. I don't have a good explanation for why, because I still don't really like the shape. But I got one of these guys. This is the 7LA320KS. Yeah, I know you all probably own one. I don't. Well, I do now. I didn't until now. A beautiful pipe, no question about it. Very smooth flowing lines, very organic looking. There's just something about this shape that, to me, when I look at it, it looks unfinished to me. And I know that's strange because it's so smooth and curvaceous and everything else. I don't know why I don't like this shape, but there's just something about it that has never appealed to me. But when I picked this up and held it, there was just something about it that was calling to me. It's a great pipe. It feels great in the hand. It seems like it would be a very comfortable smoker. And like I said, when I was there in the shop, and even now looking at it, it's beautiful. The grain is fantastic on it. I really like that it's got some straight grain with some ring grain kind of radiating through it. I don't know if you're going to be able to pick that up. Yeah, you can kind of see that. So yeah, it's absolutely gorgeous. I love the pipe from an aesthetic point of view. But like I said, it's just not a shape that's normally appealed to me, and now I own one. So I guess it was that sort of you're on vacation, you can do things you don't normally do mentality. And the third pipe, and this was also one that I bought from Kramer's, and this is one that I really did fall in love with and like very much. This is a Nirrup pipe. So for those of you that don't know, Nirrup pipes are made by a guy named Peter Jepsen, and he's a Danish pipe maker, and he worked with Erik Nording for about 18 years. You know, really learned his skill. And this guy, I just fell in love with this. Well, to be honest, my wife fell in love with this. I was looking at other parts of the case, and she said, "Come over here, take a look at this one." And I looked at it, and I was, yeah. And then I moved on, and when I was asking to see some of the pipes, she asked to see this. And as soon as I picked it up, I absolutely fell in love with it. It is just so unique. You can see it's got a light sandblast on it, and then the staining is done in a way that, you know, really doesn't hide the grain so much as accentuate it. And there's these gaps in the stain that I think just really work well with it. Gives it a very natural look, especially down here on the shank. So it's very rustic, very natural. I mean, it almost looks like a tree branch or something in the way that it was stained and finished. And then it's got this beautiful little acrylic detail in here that just accentuates the colors so nicely. And this tiny little stem that you know, I just think it's kind of surprisingly small for the pipe, but it proportionally fits very well. You know, takes advantage of that little intermediary band, and it's just a lovely little pipe. So I'm really glad that I picked this one up. Very happy to add it to the collection. So anyway, that's me showing off my inability to resist pipes, and I hope that you all have more willpower than I do, or we'll all be broke soon. With that, I really don't have much more else to say. I just wanted to come on and say hello to you all, let you know I'm still kicking, and I'm back at home, and looking forward to getting back to the shop real soon. So with that, I will finish my haunted bookshop. I hope you're all having a fantastic weekend, and I wish you all the best for the coming week. And I will look forward to talking to you all again very soon. Goodbye now.